Welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. It's your host Chris here, and I'm being joined by my Star Trek Discovery panel. It's been a while. It's been what? It's been it's well over a year, right?
It's been a long ass time.
No. We finished up. Okay, maybe it's been a year.
I think it finished in January, didn't it? And they were like, "Yeah, we'll see you guys back in 2019." We're like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
Yeah, they're pulling a Game of Thrones on us. Like, oh.
Yeah. I will say it was a little bit earlier than that. Not completely their fault. We did discuss maybe coming back real quick to do the short treks, but I was slow. It was all on me. I didn't want to give CBS All Access my money to the last possible fucking minute.
No, it's good because I as much as I liked all of the tracks, really all of the shorts but one. But like I don't know that there was enough to cover one by one or even as a group with the shorts. So yeah, I think it turned out for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like no, not to mention it's I'm splurging this time. Before we even get into this, let's just talk a little bit about how everybody's experience with the CBS All Access app has been. Has anybody been having any problems, or is it much improved?
Much improved.
I'm doing it through Amazon Prime, so yeah, I bypassed the whole thing.
So I connected it through my Xbox. I watched the shorts and the first episode through the Xbox, no problems. And then because the kids were watching the big TV, I set it up on my Apple TV and still no problem. So
because last year we had all kinds of problems.
Xbox, I haven't had a problem, with the exception of the captions not really working too well in episode 2, but that's neither here nor there.
Now, weirdly enough, on the Xbox, the captions were wonky, but on my Apple TV, they were not.
They fixed it on the Apple TV between Thursday and today because I watch all the episodes the day of, and the captions were off on Thursday, and I was watching it on Amazon Prime on Apple TV.
Yeah, there was like before and after. It was very weird. I had to turn it off.
I had it where like half the caption was on the bottom right hand side of the screen, and half the caption was halfway up mid screen on the left side. It was weird.
I've had that too. I just ignore it. Just keep it rolling.
Well, I have not tried the captions. It's weird because when I'm doing all these screeners we were getting for a war season, I've been using captions on that. But for some reason on Star Trek Discovery, I was like, no, I'm too engaged. I don't need to read it. So I don't turn captions on those. Yeah, I don't turn captions on those. But I was actually shocked because again, I don't use the CBS All Access app for anything else other than Star Trek. And so I know last year it wasn't like horrendous, but there were definitely issues with it, right? They've definitely improved it, and like I said, I've gone on these rants before. I do not think everybody's going to work out with trying to do these individual streaming services. It's not going to work for everybody. Again, I'm only doing CBS All Access for Star Trek, and when it's done, I get rid of it. And I don't know if that's a winning business model for them. But I will say, at least when I'm watching and paying for it, Star Trek Discovery, and I just watched episode 2 maybe an hour ago. And the thing that stood out to me was like, man, this is a beautiful looking show. So I at least feel like when I'm paying for it, I'm getting my money's worth in that respect because this show looks amazing.
It is very cinematic.
Yeah, like the opening of 2, and I was just like, they consider this a TV show? Okay. All right.
When they were flying through the clouds, that was gorgeous.
Yeah. It was great. Because the thing about it is, because I thought about, Netflix is kind of basically the deal they had with Netflix basically pays for the show, and we've had that brought up with people talking about maybe that's what DC's doing with DC Universe and Titans. And I was like, yeah, but Titans doesn't look beautiful. This looks beautiful. Titans is like shit. This looks like I can see why Netflix would pay up front, for this because it's a high production quality, and so we're gonna go through these shorts real quick. Again, they're not a lot. I am interested. Which one was the one that you did not like?
The Harvey Mudd one.
Yeah, I'm over Mudd.
You really?
Yeah,
I love that one.
I started to zone out.
Hysterical.
I started to zone out after a while. I'm like, I liked his individual episode in season 1, but this I was like, I don't care.
It's same. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's like I like right.
I like the mud one. I thought it was very funny. I had a problem with Runaway, even though I like the character Tilly. It seemed like there wasn't too much to the story. Like they were skipping a lot with that one.
Yeah, that one felt like there was a lot that we were the Runaway one where I can't remember what race she was. Shows up on the planet. I mean, it shows up on the ship. Then you find out like she's royalty. Like it feels like at the end of that one they kind of suck a lot of stuff in there. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, she's really really smart. Oh, and also she's royalty as well. And you're just like, oh, we spent about 15 minutes of this episode not kind of burying the lead here, and now she's gone. Okay.
It's like the yada yada, the fact that she's royalty. Like, I'm queen. So what?
Yeah.
Wait. What? Let's go back a little bit. Let's see how. What?
Or the fact that Tilly hid her kind of from the rest of the crew. Like, how did that happen? Going throughout the ship.
Well, that is the one thing I did think about. I was like, so we're just using the transporter, and nobody's gonna say anything right now. Okay, all right. Hey, you know what though? I'll allow stuff like that though. I'll allow stuff like that. I did notice it.
I just let all of those go. I guess this comes back to sort of the issue I have with the short tracks in general. Like there isn't, and this is probably, really good on the writers of Discovery. Like I have no idea how these connect to the series.
Well, yeah.
And and after that point, I'm just gonna let these go and just like enjoy them as whatever they are. But
the only ones that I know that do connect is the Brightest Star, which is the Saru origin story, and rumor is that Calypso might connect somehow this season. Mm-hmm. I don't know how.
I'm hoping so. Cause I actually really like Aldous Hodge.
So I have a theory about that. But it's me grasping for straws with the fact that Pike is the captain. So I'm sure we can get into that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like they all can probably at some point tie in this season. But you're right. It did seem kind of. You know what I think it is if you watch these shorts before you watch the season, it kind of you're like you're trying to connect them to something that you don't have right now. We don't have a season. Like maybe if they dropped this, maybe like I don't know, maybe dropped them in the middle of the season or something like that. It would have. Again, I liked them. I enjoyed them for what they were. But again, like you said, when you're waiting for episode 1 to drop and you're waiting to see what Star Trek season 2 is going to be, Discovery season 2 is going to be, and you have these shorts, you're sitting there going, oh, okay, so all right, so where's like what happened to Discovery and Calypso? Like so. Why is it 1,000 years? Like, you're trying so hard that sometimes you're not really paying attention to the story going into there. So yeah, I can see how that can cause some issues.
No, but when they released them, they didn't release them all at once. They released them once a month, and so it was just a weird way they went about it. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I think I should have just waited for them all to drop instead of just watching them as it came out.
That's the other thing too, guys. Listen, you're not slick. DC's doing the same thing with Young Justice. You're not kidding me. This whole thing of we don't have enough content, so we're gonna drop one thing a month or every now and then, and hopefully you'll keep your. It's not gonna work on me, guys. Like
exactly, it was a cash grab. That's all.
Right. So we're not getting Star Trek Discovery until January. So you're gonna start dropping short trek starting in like October once a month, hoping that people pay $5.99 to $9.99 a month. No, that's not going to happen. No, I'm just going to wait until January comes. I'll pay for it, and then I'll watch all 4 of those. Because I watch them all. They're no longer than 20 minutes each anyway. So, come on.
It's like the easier way to hook me, and the way that they actually did hook me, because I said I was going to cancel it after Discovery, and I ended up not doing it. But it was really because I had a lot of relatives coming to visit over the holidays, and I was trying to hook them into Discovery. And that's how I ended up not dropping CBS All Access. But like this whole mess with that's not the way to hook me.
No. Mm-mm. Nope. I really liked Brightest Star to kind of see how Saru came into leaving his planet, and I'm really interested in seeing how that ties into this season. I even got that feel from episode 2 a little bit there, where you kind of like sitting here going, wow, it's the one smart person who realized there's more to life than just sitting in being whatever the Kelpians are being. I guess they're being hunted for food, right? They're being sacrificed for food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was my favorite, honestly. The one with Saru.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it built. You know what it is? I think that's also the one that kind of builds on something that we had from last season.
Mm-hmm.
So it builds on it built on what we saw from when they were in the Mirror Universe and everything about Saru. So I feel like that one and even the Runaway one, you're kind of building on Taylor's character, but not like the Saru one is. So I can definitely see how the Saru one becomes people's favorite one. It's just it's the one that has the most connection to everything else you got going on. The previous season and going forward, it connects you to something we've seen with his character in that season one, and then it leaves you with this hope of, well, are we gonna find out what's going on with his planet in season 2? Like, is he gonna go back home? Is he gonna see his sister?
It also colored his character. You can understand why he tries so hard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because he's always kind of extra, and he means well with it. Like, it's not like an obnoxious, like super smart person. Like, I have to show how smart I am. It's like he's trying to demonstrate like he belongs. So I guess you can say he's a, what is it called? Like identity. What is that? Where people don't feel they belong somewhere. That identity issue when they're in a space that they're not, even though they earned it, they don't feel like they belong there.
Imposter.
That's it. The imposter syndrome. That's through. From watching that, it for me at least, it colored his character for me, and it explains to me some of his actions or motivations. Really.
You gotta remember, it also ties into what he said to Tilly in episode 2 as well. Just she's trying too hard. He's like, listen, I'm the same way with you. I was the first Kelpian ever, basically to not be. Basically, he's saying it nicely. I'm the first Kelpian to get into Starfleet. No, you're the first one to not be food.
I hate to be that guy, but now with everybody apparently wanting to eat Kelpians, now I'm wondering what they taste like.
Sir.
Calamari?
I'm just saying.
It's got to be a delicacy. I'm just saying.
I mean, put some Old Bay on them. I mean,
I hate all of you.
What? I mean, it's
everybody else wants it.
It's a valid question.
Oh, come on. They're people.
Even the Federation knew that the race that was basically mining, like, first of all, they're farming them. They're farming Kelpian, right? They're telling them to volunteer because that makes the meat even more succulent. And so the Federation knows that this is happening, and it's basically like, oh well, I mean, he is the first one to not, to show some kind of sentient thought and be something else other than, use technology. So we'll save that one. It's like if the smartest cow out of the pasture. It's like,
sir.
Like that cow that escaped and went onto its own little island.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, I also hate to be like this, but I don't know my cow. I buy my food at the grocery store. So, I mean, if I were to be at Safeway and there was a Kelpian, I'm just saying.
Look, look. We're not going to harp on this. All we're saying is, if the Discovery crashes on a planet and there's a lack of food,
Saru better watch out.
I'm just saying, Saru the first one to go, and I think that's just. Everybody knows. That's just what
they put it in my head, okay? It wasn't me.
Just
that has been a basically a series long nugget that's been dropped throughout. Like,
and I
hey, Kelpians. Wait, what? Yeah, well, I guess we do. Sure.
I didn't want to point this out, but since we're talking about it, you don't really see Kelpians, and do we see Kelpians in any other Star Trek?
Nope.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
I think they get hunted to extinction and Saru gets eaten. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Is there anything else about the short treks you guys want to actually discuss or talk about other than how tasty Saru probably tastes?
Aldous Hodge. That's all I have to say.
I like this actor.
A minute. I'll give y'all a minute.
I love
The
Calypso.
only thing I want to say is like with Calypso, the writer of that, Michael Chabon, he's supposed to be one of the head writers for the upcoming Picard series. So that might be a kind of an indication of just the quality of writing that might be coming to that show. Is the only thing. And I really want to know how that whole thing plays out with the sentient AI and all that stuff. Like it was a very intriguing episode. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that what's his name, Adis Hodge is out there because I really like that actor.
Yeah.
I went the opposite direction, right? So a lot of y'all said that your favorite was Brightest Star. That's my second favorite. Calypso is actually my favorite, and I think it was because of my attitude after watching the first one and not knowing where the connection points are. So after I started to just like accept them for what they are, it was the one that was the farthest left field, and so I could just enjoy it. It was the one that I could most easily enjoy for what it is.
It felt like a Black Mirror episode, to be perfectly honest.
It did. You're right. Yeah.
It was
also very Star Trek-y because it was like a really throwback to those kind of like hard science sometimes that they do on the show. And like, the computer, you have to like figure it out. Is the computer going to be evil? Is the computer being kind? What's going on? Is he a good guy? It was like, you're trying to figure out these characters as they're trying to figure each other out. And then I found it very interesting. And also the fact that I guess starships can last 1,000 years. Who knew?
Well, it also
in good condition too.
Well, it also, with that being Discovery, it also kind of answers the question of like, well, not answer the question, but kind of gives a hint at, why don't we see Discovery anywhere else? It gets abandoned somewhere. So because again, I mean, and I think they've done a better job because you start seeing other ships around. That the technology on Discovery is still, it's just because the technology we have today to show these shows is better. But you still have a ship that can do these jumps, and that's not technology any other show had. So if the ship gets abandoned somewhere, that kind of and forgotten about, that kind of explains why you don't see it anywhere else. So
I just looked it up. So when Hiroja brought up Michael Chabon, that's the actual novelist. I just wanted to check that. That's interesting.
Are you talking about for the director or writer of the episode?
The writer.
Got you.
Yeah, he wrote the Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, and Wonder Boys.
So one thing that got me looking through credits, I saw this. I just happened to see it. I don't know. I guess it was. I don't know if it was a short or what it was, but that Vaughn Wilmot was actually is executive producer as a producer this season, and he's he did Dominion, which I really, really loved Dominion, and I was really sad that Dominion got canceled.
I want it back.
Right. So when I was really happy when I saw his name there, and I was like, oh wow, okay, he is getting work, and he's doing more shows that I like, so good. But yeah, I had to throw it out there that I really enjoyed that. So.
This goes back to the production, like the fact that they're throwing everything at the show. It's showing.
Oh, absolutely.
And so sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. Number one, I know that people love Star Trek as a movie franchise, and I do too. But I'm fine that there isn't another Star Trek movie coming. Like, they're throwing everything at the series. This is what I want.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
And then the other thing is like, this continues to be a good sign for television. When you have like, the budget for the show is like 10 plus million, which is about what they're spending on The Mandalorian. And that seems like the standard for a flagship television show. Like, I don't think it's settled in with people that we are like, I mean, we have actually exceeded another golden age of television.
Well, I remember when
nuts.
Well, I remember when the production cost of these shows was a limiting factor. I remember when it's not a good show. It's not a good show because they only got like 2 episodes. But remember that Terra Nova show? They had the dinosaurs and things like that.
Yeah,
And it had
Yes,
Yeah.
I like this show.
well, I thought it could have
All two
got
episodes?
it could have gotten better, but I think it didn't get a full season, did it? I don't
No,
no,
know.
it didn't.
No.
They didn't
Right.
finish. They weren't able to
But
finish.
that's because they
Yeah.
spent like so much money on the first episode, and then when they didn't get the returns they want, it just crashed and burned. So to go back to what we were saying, I think you're right. It's like the fact that we're able to get, one that they're putting these. If you're gonna put this kind of money down on a show, you pretty much need to do the entire season first. Get it all done. Have the plan, and let's go forward from there. And that's where I feel like they're doing with shows like Discovery, like they do The Mandalorian. They're gonna put this money behind it. Then they're gonna make sure that you can at least get the full season in. And I think that's what they did when they went to Netflix. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, internationally, you guys want to have the rights to send this out internationally, and that will help pay for us to do the version on the app, and now we can keep everybody happy. And it works because again, the production value that they have in this season, in season 2, and the actors and the writing and everything, like we're only 2 episodes in, so I can't sit there and say, "Oh, it's so much better than season 1." Blah blah. I really like season 1, but I'm really enjoying this season already, just off of the first 2 episodes, and it doesn't seem like they've gone down in quality, but if anything, they've gone up. So absolutely. All right. So I guess anything else about the shorts before we go ahead and get into this?
No.
I got nothing.
All right. So let's get into the first episode, which was what was the first episode called? It was
Brother.
Brother.
First episode was called Brother, and the second episode was called New Eden. And I have to say, I love the fact that Star Trek, and this goes back to again what was being said about them not doing another movie. Star Trek has always been like TV, and what I loved about like Deep Space Nine is you have an overall like plot line going on, but you still get to do like little mini. You still get to do the science. You still get to do the individual problem solving and the individual storylines in each individual episodes. And I feel like Discovery has kind of blended that because they have shorter seasons than the old Star Treks used to have. Those used to be like, what, 26 episodes?
22,
season?
23.
Yeah, they were long seasons. Like Star Trek Discovery, what's this season going to be, like 16 again?
I think
I think
so.
they put it 15.
So,
15? Yeah, so they've shortened the number of episodes in the season, but you still get the idea of having an overarching like plot line going on. But each of these first 2 episodes have basically been little mini adventures that are so drastically different from each other. One turns into a rescue mission. Another one is basically, a play on, the episodes they always do in Star Trek, which is, going down to a planet, a pre-warp society, and adhering to the Prime directives, which just happens to be that there are humans down there. So I don't know. I think they've done a really good job of blending the traditional Star Trek seasons with an updated, faster pace, connective season.
All I know is this season started off, and these 2 episodes, this is the search for Spock.
Yeah.
Except done better.
Much better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's that. I mean, a lot of those movies are not good. So,
I have a counter argument for that, but
what, they're not good?
no.
Okay.
So the reason why I liked Star Trek 2, 3, and 4 is because I look at them all as one movie, and so it all works for me from that standpoint. So I don't know that I think that they're not good. I think they were good for the time. But those 3 movies in particular are probably, that's my favorite stretch of the Star Trek film franchise.
Well, because it's all one trilogy. Pretty much. It's one,
is.
like I said, one great big story.
It's a self-contained trilogy, and if I watch The Wrath of Khan, I usually end up sitting there and watching the next 2, just because. So yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I watch the fuck out of them. I say this a lot. Something's not good doesn't necessarily mean I do not enjoy it, and I will not watch it all day if it's on my TV. I will definitely watch those shows.
Now 5.
No.
We all have limits.
I pretend that one never happened.
We all have limits. We all have limits. So I got to say this. So we started off with episode 1 with Brother, and about 15 minutes into episode 1, I started hating Inhumans all over again because
they wasted Anson Mount. They wasted my man.
Thank you.
I never really had a problem with him because I knew he could act and I knew he had skills. But Jesus Christ, folks!
Who knew if you actually let him speak, he would make you motivated enough to walk through fire for him.
my first experience with Anson Mount was that dreadful Inhumans. I had never seen. What was he in Sons of Anarchy? I never watched. Never watched that one either. I first saw him in Inhumans, and it's like, oh my god, what is wrong with him? Why is he walking around looking constipated all the time? What? Yeah.
I figured it out. I figured it out. He's so personable and he's so talkative. Them giving him a role where he can't talk is literally him trying to swallow his tongue every fucking scene.
Pretty much.
So he doesn't speak.
Bad casting. Now that I'm watching him on Star Trek, I'm like, this is horrible casting. It's oh my god.
Yeah.
And within the first line he spoke in Discovery, it's like, okay, I see it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm sorry. I doubted you, sir.
I was like, let's go.
Well, my watching him was thinking that if they ever did X-Men Marvel TV show, he would make a great Magneto. I thought as this charismatic, he was just so charismatic and personable.
Yeah.
Yet he wasn't that over charismatic person. He was kind of you would follow him because you trust him. It was just an instant connection. Okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He trusts it. He knows you know what you're doing. And okay, I can follow this guy.
And you need that personality. You need that for the role he's coming in, because here he is coming in, as the captain of the Enterprise, being like, yeah, so my car broke down. I'm gonna need to commandeer your vehicle right now. That's basically what happened to this episode. It's yeah, we blew a couple tires, so I know you guys are getting. Yeah, I'm the captain now. But he does it in such a way where you're just like, you know what though? You're right. You are the captain now. Do you see anything I can get you, Captain?
When he said, "I'm not Lorca," damn, you aren't. Let's go.
Right.
You know what it reminded me of? Actually, it reminded me of when 12 on Doctor Who. He was like, "I am not your boyfriend." That's what it felt like.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah.
Also, he added a different kind of level to the show where he's like, I'm not a war captain too. You can see we're going back to being science people now, because I guess for whatever reason they had the Enterprise sit out the war. And
remember he said that they were on the 5-year mission.
Yeah, so I guess they were too far away. But
yeah. And actually, I think the way he made it sound like they caught wind of it, but they were told to stay out.
Yeah.
Just to go on with the mission.
And so there was a very interesting. So there's a really interesting component to that when you think about Pike's character. So number one, he seemed like he wasn't a war captain, and that's a straw in his favor. But you could see also an amount of frustration in him that he was not allowed to participate in the war. Which I think is interesting. How many people here have seen The Cage, which is the original Star Trek pilot?
Oh yeah, I saw it. That was back when they had Spock actually having emotions and feelings.
Yeah. Yep. Well, a component of that episode was Pike having doubts about wanting to be a captain because he and his crew were engaged in a war.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's quite a few interesting parallels for that character for people that have seen either The Cage or The Menagerie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, it was a very you needed somebody who could come in who was, because again, Discovery's technically, it was not technically, Discovery's had 2 different captains already, 3 if you consider, temporary Captain Saru, so you needed somebody to come in who was a very, very different personality, but you also needed somebody that could win over the crew, because this crew would, you can see why this crew would be a little, antsy about having somebody else that they really don't know like that, right? They've kind of been burned before. And so the way that he comes in and does it, and like, I even love the fact that they come in originally with the colorful costumes, so they stand out even more.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was great. That was so good.
That was great. It's like, yeah, oh, you guys got new spiffy uniforms. Oh, that's wow. Yeah, we've been gone for like 5 years. So no, but and this goes to something I've been seeing people talk about online, and it's very, very evident in the first 2 episodes. They're by not just having him accepted by the crew, but also that entire bridge crew, and getting that bridge crew more involved in the story, because I think that is one thing that, again, just because of what they were doing in the first season, they really couldn't focus on that. But now it seems like they're really trying to make sure that we get to know the bridge crew, and that's something that I thought about when I was watching that episode 2, and I was like, that is actually necessary, because every Star Trek has that. Every Star Trek, who the bridge crew is. Obviously, the first season, we were so focused on Burnham and people like Tilly and Stamets and Saru, but we didn't really know anybody else on the bridge. We knew that you could see that they were the same people all the time, but you wouldn't even get their names. You weren't really understanding who they were. And this season, they seem to be making a concerted effort to change that and include them not just into missions, away missions, but into problem solving on the bridge. And I think that's a huge part of Star Trek. We always know the bridge crew, and the bridge crew is always important. Like, that's what makes whatever ship you're on that ship. And
that's what some of the more beloved characters in the franchise are bit players. Like, I mean, everybody knows who Broccoli is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, thank you for saying that, because that was a big note I made. The first season really did not give you any insight outside of the main characters, and that just seemed very un-Star Trek to me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're trying, like, especially the focus on Owosekun in the second episode, it seems like they're correcting that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, because again, think about to the Enterprise. I mean, how that bridge crew turned all around and changed around, and next thing you know, I mean, people forget Worf wasn't head of security. He was like, where was Worf stationed on the bridge? Was he even on the bridge?
He was a communications officer.
That's what it was. He was a communications officer. It's just like, when you go back to those first episodes, you see where those people, you now know who they are. You're like, fuck, we came a long way.
Yeah, and O'Brien wasn't a major character.
No, not at all.
And then he got the ultimate shine on DS9.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then one of the particular, there basically has what I call the Geordi visor. It's just like they're like, by getting them more involved in this these first 2 episodes up front, it, like you said, it becomes more like a Star Trek show. Not saying to take away from first season. I really love the first season. I think the first season sets the groundwork and the stage. But now that we're out of the war and we're not dealing with the war, we're now getting back to, it's almost, you know what it is? It's almost like season 1 started with what would have been like a season 3 or 4 storyline, right? We jumped right into a major war. First. Right. And a ship that's basically a prototype ship that people are still trying to figure out how to fucking work. Now we're finally getting a season where people know what the ship is, to the point of, this is Pike's first jump, Black Alert jump, and everybody else is like, you never forget your first. It's fine. It's okay. We do this all the time. It's not a big deal anymore.
Oh, can we talk about the way that Burnham looked at Saru and he said it, because he was like, dude. Come on, this is our captain. Can we not win? I don't even think Saru realized he had did it either.
No. But you know what that reminded me of? It's like when Tilly was doing his fingerprints on there. It was was basically falling in love with him as she was doing it. Like,
I'm sorry, I don't blame her. He is a good-looking man. That is a good-looking man.
But you know
the
what?
dude is charismatic as all hell. Like,
very charismatic.
Dude, I don't understand. Like, again, like Joseph, Anson Mount, my first exposure to him, at least that I know, was Inhumans. And dude, that's a charismatic dude.
No personality.
I would be right behind him.
Right.
Going straight to hell.
I'm mad you said behind him though. Like, yeah, you take the lead, but I'm with you.
Right.
Hey man, I'm not the captain.
Right. Captain first, right? Yeah, Captain first. Right? but you know,
preservation.
But going back to what I was saying, you know, the idea of, you know, I'm just thinking about it even more now. I do still think that they made the right choice in what they did in season 1, because when you come into season 2, it now feels like it feels like the perfect time to get to know the rest of the crew, because now it feels like they've been through so much shit together. They're like all family, you know?
Yeah.
And so like when like that bridge crew feels like they're just like something happened, just like, oh no, we can do this. It's fine. You know, we trust me. We've been through some shit.
When they had to save them and the pods, and the girls were like, "Yeah, we can do this."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure.
Like, wait, can we do this? She's like, yeah,
we can do this. Yeah.
I think we can do it.
Terraformed an entire planet. Yes, we can do this.
Well, and so I go back to, it's like, I think now's the perfect time to know them, because now you're just like, you see them and like, I feel like if they behave that way in season 1, you'd be like, oh, so what's the backstory? Do they know, like, how long has this crew been together? What's going on? Because I'm not gonna lie, that is one thing I think that does stand out when you see some of these other things, even when they do it in the movies, when they see done other Star Trek, it's like, oh yeah, we have our new ship and our new crew, and we're just getting to know each other, and everybody's kind of like really awkward because you're just like, who the fuck are you? But in season 1, we kind of are, that crew had already been together to begin with. You know, they'd already been working together. Then they go to this war, and now you're here, and you're just like, oh no, yeah. Look, guys, we almost died. We went to a mirror universe with our mirror selves, all right? Like,
and our homicidal
captain. They went through shit.
Right.
Yeah.
We went through a lot of shit. So,
and it directly addresses a problem that Star Trek shows usually have. Like, you know, we all love Star Trek, but in retrospect, the first 2 seasons of any Star Trek show, you could kind of throw those away. Huh?
They're rough going.
Yeah, you can kind of throw those away because it's all about relationship building and world building. And that's great once you get to for DS9, that's great once you get to the Dominion War, because now you have that context. But like the first two seasons of DS9, as great as that show is, it's kind of rough. And I think they've avoided that. I think they made a great choice because they focused on the action and they focused on throwing us into things. And we didn't get that. Yeah, I think that was a great decision. Because now we can focus on the world building and the relationship building.
But they also had, like, even though they have less episodes, they had more time per episode. I mean, those shows, while they're 26 episodes or 22, they're like 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. These episodes are like an hour long or a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have more time to have that character building and breathing, and you don't have like skips or cut scenes or anything like that. So I think that the show has been afforded something to just be produced from its time.
Oh no,
not make those same mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. Because I'm not gonna lie, so watching episode 2, and I think that when they beam back after they save Pike, I do not think if this was on TV, you get that last 10 minutes. You know, because it feels like the episode's over, and then you get that conversation with him and Burnham, and then he goes back down and talks. I was like, I was just like, now I'm using the ad version of the app, so it's like, yo, I don't get time to break. I don't get a chance to breathe. I'm like, there's so much shit going on in these episodes. They're cram packed. There doesn't seem to be any downtime, anything that happens, and you can now do this thing. What I really like when shows do this, and it's something that, you know, I always bring up when I'm talking to Daniel about like Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I wish more the Arrowverse shows are doing this more, but I wish they would like really focus on this. You know, being able to tell multiple storylines in an episode that you know later on are going to converge into the bigger story, it works. Like there's so many little things between episode one. First, in episode one, you're getting one. You got this underlying thing with Burnham and Spock, and other than hearing his voice, like I thought they would give us, but we didn't get. We haven't seen Spock other than his younger self. We get the underlying thing there. We have this thing with we have the signals. We have Stamets wanting to leave because of he lost the love of his life, and I'm not gonna lie, this is really, really fucking sad. It's sad.
Listen,
it really is.
Anthony Rapid's killing me right now,
Yeah, Wilson Cruz is hilarious on Twitter, by the way.
No, he is. He's great.
He's trolling everybody.
Yeah. No. Like this cast is so great, but like Anthony Rapid's killing me right now in the season. So you have that, and then episode 2, you have you're still dealing with the Spock thing. You're dealing with the signal thing. You have the bridge crew doing their own thing, saving. Like what I love about this is you had your major people, Burnham and Pike on the planet, dealing with one thing, trying to figure out what was going on. They had no idea up above them that the bridge crew and Saru are saving their lives because there's no communication between the two. Then you have Tilly going on her whole thing of trying to find an alternative for Stamets so he doesn't keep hooking himself up into the spore drive. And oh, by the way, she's now seeing her dead friend from high school or whatever the fuck. Like, there's all these different threads going on at the same time, and it never feels like it's all going to connect. It's all going to be related, and it doesn't feel like it's too much. And there's just so much. There's not a down moment in here at all.
Can we talk about the fact? Oh, sorry. I was going to say, can we talk about the fact too that this is such a crew / family that Tilly ran on the bridge in her hospital gown and no one
better than I.
No one blinked. Like, yeah, this is our girl. This is what she did. This is what she did.
It must be a reason for it.
Yeah,
she's grown on me. Like early on, she was kind of annoying, but she's grown on me.
She had me. We talked about this. She had me halfway through season 1, and I'm like, okay.
I think the word you're looking for, Parrish, is that she was a member of the 53%.
We literally called the episode Burnham gets. We called the first review Burnham gets a 53% roommate. All right, we called her that.
And then by episode 4, it's like, oh, okay.
Like, okay, I get you. She gets.
No, I'm Team Tilly. She says something to. Just like she's so caring, like the conversation she has with Burnham, where she's basically telling Burnham, "It's like, tell me you're gonna come back. Tell me you're not gonna die. Please tell me this. Lie to me something." I'm just
lie to me. Yeah.
She's such a good friend.
Stannis wasn't quite as mean to her with his advice, like repeat these words after me. I will say blessed words, and he was being gentle about it. Right. Like before, he would have been like really snappish, but now he's like different. Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to mention earlier was like Burnham, like there was like secrets last season. There is no secret this season.
Right.
Like when Burnham saw the stained glass and saw the angel picture, she told the captain. She was like, I didn't know what it was before, but I saw that image and
maybe it's important.
I saw it on the bridge and there might be a connection. Not sure. Right. But it's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Last time she would have kept that to herself and then tried to figure it out on her own.
Right.
Well, maybe rope Tilly into it or somehow.
Yeah. Well, I think we've gotten we now have a Burnham who feels like she belongs, because remember when she was put onto the Discovery before, she didn't feel like she belonged, right? So she feels like she belongs, and she's grown, and I you're right. I like how everybody's so open. Like even Tilly, when Saru was like questioning her, like, why are you doing all this stuff? Like, this is stupid, blah blah blah. And she was like, it's because I'm doing it for Stamets. You're just like, and even he was like, why didn't you say so? Okay, but you're still doing too much. You're still doing too much. I need you to calm. Hey, Tilly, I need you to. You're at your normal 11. I need you to bring it down to like at least an 8. All right, bring it down to an 8. I know we're not going to be able to get you down to a 5, so let's keep it down to around like a 7 or 8, and go from there, Tilly. All right, just keep. You could have killed everybody here. You could have killed yourself. Let's not. Let's do a better job. So
basically, do not keep that same energy.
Stannis lab. She's like, oh, there's like, what's his face says that like 2 stories, and she doesn't really need all that. You can have this space here.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. That's what did it for me this season. I was like, when she was trying to give Stamets more space, I was just like, fuck, I love Tilly. Damn
and
it.
Except she did put a girl in a broom closet. So
I mean, but she
I'm drunk with power.
She doesn't need all that. She's basically doing meditation. She don't need 2 stories for that.
But she did say that. She did admit that she was drunk on power. And I was just like, that's, you know what, self-awareness. You know, you're not really drunk on power if you're self-aware. It's just like when you say you're drunk, you're not really drunk if you say you're drunk. All right, so it's okay.
No, there are times when you know your ass is drunk.
Well, there's this thing, you know how the details in the show, like the background screens, you can read stuff. When Tilly was looking at her pad, it's like a list of things to do, and someone pulled it, and it's like all these like positive affirmations, like, okay, I need to, all these check marks. Like she knows that she does too much, and she has this list of how making herself not be too much and be more open and asking Michael for advice. It's like a whole thing if you want to look for it, and it's just like that's so Tilly. She would make a list of things that self-improvement and command this and do this and talk to people and making sure she's like taking care of herself and talking to her mom and all that stuff. I was like, oh my God, how is it I'm going to love this character that started out as a 53% roommate?
Right. Yeah, it's just, like I said, everybody's growing on me, and I love it. The person who didn't grow on me, who was the dude who died?
Mansplainer?
Huh?
Colonel Blue Shirt.
Yeah. I love how they made it a blue shirt to the red shirt because I was just like,
yes.
I was like, they better not get. I saw that sister in red. I'm like, they better.
I was like, she looks so awesome. I want to know what species she is, but she's in red. She's gonna die.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you putting the red on? That's a bold choice there, bold choice. But when dude started talking all this shit, I was like, oh no, they're gonna kill him. He's gonna die.
I laughed out loud when he died. I was like, yes.
He was talking so much shit. And I'm like, well, you gotta die. You have to die.
So this first episode, so that happened in Brother, right? So both the two things that happened in Brother that so much reminded me of the 2009 Star Trek. So first was that, because it was like the dude who died, the red shirt who died in Star Trek, where he wouldn't pull his chute for the dumbest fucking reason. He was like, yo, dude, pull your chute. Hey, pull your chute. No, I can do it. I'm like, I can see it. I'm like, hey, dude, pull your chute. You're gonna. Oh, he just died. Okay, so you know this little Colonel jackass. You know, I was like, no, I could do it. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm like, oh no. Yeah, you're gonna die.
All right,
so
buddy.
The second though was what was it? What was the lady on the surface? Jet Reno.
So much Tig Norado's character,
reminded me so much of when when Scotty and them get found and just talking shit and doesn't really give a shit about anything. It's just like, oh, so you guys are here to save us? All right, cool. We should try that before. Like it just like those two scenes so much just had the feel of the 2009 Star Trek for me, and I was not expecting that. Both of those things that happened, and it gave me so much joy.
I loved her character because they were like, wait, you kept these people alive, but you're not a doctor, you're an engineer. She's like,
the machine.
Body's a machine, and I read.
There's that, but it was like, don't doubt me. I'm a woman. I do shit. I get shit done.
But she made those robots too to help her. Oh, and then she had booby traps for the Klingons. She's like, oh, stop.
Now,
you don't want to get your head chopped off.
I'm sorry. She's supposed to be a regular, right? Like moving forward.
Sorta.
Okay.
I would think so. 'Cause I'm sorry. She wasn't in a lot in episode 1, but she wasn't in enough that I was like, okay, yeah, I need more of her. She'll fit right in well, especially with the way the new crew just feels. Like, again, the first season felt more not structured. It felt more serious and everybody felt more stiff. And obviously because you're in the middle of a war and Lorca was running the ship like, Lorca was fucking crazy, so there's that. This season, everything feels a little bit. It's still Starfleet. Everything just feels a little bit more relaxed. So I felt like she'd be great with the rest of the crew.
Well, that comes from the captain. It comes from leadership. Lorca was the stick in the mud, mirror universe jackass. So his attitude filtered down to everybody else. And Pike is more laid back. So that feeling is going to filter down to everybody else as well. And Commander Reno is going to fit right in with the Discovery crew.
Yeah. It just.
She just love her first name, Jet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I really appreciated that, and just I'm really feeling the way everybody's working together this season. What do I want to do?
And the other thing, because the reason why I asked is because that was a big release, like from their press, like casting her. The other one is we haven't seen number one yet.
That's what I thought was going to be. That's what I thought they were going to. That's what I thought it was going to be, and it wasn't her. I was like, oh, we saving that? Okay, all right, we can save that.
Yeah.
So, looking forward to that. Also looking forward for when, how they bring Hugh back, or on what forms. Because I'm not gonna lie, yo, Anthony, Stamps is killing me right now.
Maybe with the whole Tilly seeing her dead friend, is that how they're going to do that? Like slowly creep it that way.
Well, then the question
is, we still have no idea what the damn red thing is that they're obsessed with.
Right. You know,
it would make sense because of the entire crew. Stamets and Tilly are the ones that had the most exposure to the spores.
That's true.
Right.
That is a good point.
Right. And again, what did Stamets told her? It was like, when I was in there, like I saw Hugh, and he's the one that helped us pilot back from the mirror universe. He's the one that got us back home. It's like, he exists somewhere, and I don't know what I'll do. And what form does that take? And again, this whole season of with these, was it 6 or 7? I can't remember. Was it 7 signals?
7
signals.
These 7 signals. I mean, obviously, I picked this up by the episode 2, that the 7 signals are drawing them to places where this crew needs to be to save people. They were there to save Commander Reno and those injured Starfleet officers or crewmen, men and women. Then they were taken to that planet that, again, and these are always weird things, right? It's a planet here that has these human beings from right when the Third World War happened. So they've been living on. They were spirited away to the Beta Quadrant onto this planet 200 years ago, and they're living here, thinking the rest of the Earth has been destroyed. But that's not the real reason why Discovery was brought there. Discovery was kind of brought there to keep them from being wiped out from the radiation from the asteroid or whatever was there. So, like, whatever these signals are, it's bringing them again, to these places to help save people that are, and both of them have been ticking clocks. Both of them were ticking clocks of, we have to get this done now because in like an hour or so or less, everybody is going to die. So whatever this being is or whatever it is, it's moving them around for a direct purpose.
Do we go a tick back when they were talking about World War III? I mean, it's something that's often talked about in Star Trek, and it's kind of like a joke within the community how often it's talked about. But I don't think they ever said how many people died in World War III. They said 600 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's a lot, and that's probably not even really the number. So I'm gonna go like 1 billion people died.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It makes sense though.
World War III happened after the eugenics war, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the eugenics wars happened like in the 90s.
The 90s.
And then World War III is like almost a 30-year war. It's like 2026 to 2053. And then 10 years later was First Contact.
Mm-hmm.
But they've never said the amount of people have died. They've said that there were nukes that went off. But I've never heard until this episode the amount of people dying. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. Because they still had stuff that was going on. Like if you saw Star Trek Voyager, they were still going to Mars. They had Mars colonies from Enterprise. They were on the moon. Yet they had this very weird, devastating war. They need to clear that up for me personally. But I was just shocked. I was like, it took me out of the episode a bit.
No, you're absolutely right. Because then the reason why I brought up eugenics wars is because it's to kind of frame it in like this, like World War III seems to be a part of a long stretch of war, like 50 or 60 years worth of wars.
Yeah,
it has to, and when you think about what the Federation is and what happens on Earth and how the Star Trek lore has set up Earth to be, you kind of needed that, right? You kind of needed to have a lot of people die, and I'm not, not saying,
I know you didn't watch Enterprise, Chris, but I was recently doing a rewatch, and they touched on it a little bit about World War III. Again, it's something that's talked about, and the Vulcans, when the Vulcan ambassador to Earth basically said to one of the other Star Trek characters, like, they without directly saying, Vulcans are afraid of humans for the simple fact that we basically nearly annihilate ourselves, yet within 10 years, within about a century, we're out here exploring the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not ever really happened before. Like, it took Vulcans, after they nearly annihilated themselves, 1,500 years to get their shit together. Yet you guys turned it around and like that. You're frightening.
Human ingenuity. What can we say? But no, I think you're right. I think it's always something that's been in the background. We never hear the number of it. And you also go into what you were. I didn't watch Enterprise, but I do know throughout other shows and things like this that other races do kind of look at humans and being like, "But you guys over preaching peace. You guys are kind of violent creatures yourselves. You guys had a lot of war." So it's like there's it's a staggering number. And when you think about it, but you're like, you're right. It's probably got to be closer to like 1 billion or something like that in order for humans to get their shit together. Because what Earth becomes afterwards is close enough to a utopia, of like, oh yeah, we work together and everything's fine. I'm like, I know humans. That doesn't. No. What happened? What did you guys do? What did you guys do?
What did y'all do?
Right. What did you guys do? Oh, I see. You wiped off half the planet. You almost annihilated yourself, and so you guys had to work together because you basically got rid of everybody else. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So that's what makes me salivate for the Michelle Yeoh spinoff with Section 31.
Oh, I can't wait until she shows up.
Well, because that's they've always been basically the undercurrent of the Federation, like the behind the scenes. Those are the real ones doing the war shit, and yeah, I'm ready for that.
Yep. Like I'm really, really excited to see how all this goes out. But I also like the idea of them kind of tackling a little bit of religion and faith here. And I'm interested in seeing how they pull it off, because it can be good, or it's always a tricky thing. it can go either way. With how
that's been a through line through all of Star Trek.
Exactly.
The line between religion and science.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're doing it more directly. Like, again, I mean, the end of DS9 is Cisco becoming a god, literally becoming a god. So it's not like they hide away from this stuff. But they're really like leaning into it heavily in these first 2 episodes, and I'm really interested in seeing how they pull it off and where they go from it, because They were, yeah. Like, I like the idea of these people taking like every religion and basically cutting and pasting their own Bible. I was like, this is what happened with
this.
this.
I also like how they weren't totally anti-science. Like, typically what happens, they were just like, well, this science doesn't really work.
Yeah. Oh, our batteries ran out.
We did get saved by an angel. We had proof, but our science couldn't get it to work, so we got tight.
Yeah, like our batteries ran out. Like, we're not anti science. We want light, we want the refrigerator to run. But you know what? Like, the electricity went out, so we can't do that shit. So yeah.
Even that is a science, is a that in and of itself is a religious story. Mm-hmm. So like Pike became Prometheus. He literally gave them fire.
He really did.
He's like, oh, this is going to last a really, really, really long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Pike...
Here you go.
And then Pike... And Burnham says it herself, which she was like, yeah, everybody say angels, like that comes with a certain level of belief. That comes with a certain level. That's heavy. It's like, it's not just I saw a being, saw a creature. Saying I saw an angel, that's that brings some weight to it. So I'm really interested in seeing how that goes, how they tie that into Burnham and Spock, and again getting more backstory on Spock and Burnham as kids. And I love the fact that they gave her big poofy curly hair. That was great. And I also like the idea that Spock wasn't. I mean, Spock was like any other kid. You brought a new child home. No, I'm not happy about that. And especially considering he's half human, so that emotion that's there, I could understand that it was a very real emotion. So it'll be interesting seeing how they play on that Burnham Spock relationship and how it develops going forward.
One of the things that I think they immediately did to tack onto that point is give us a notion of the time and place of everything. So I know that in previous shows, we were all kind of trying to figure out where this places in the mythology, but showing Burnham and Spock together gives you an understanding of the difference and the distance between them in age. Having Pike there gives you some understanding of where Discovery places in the time frame. So looking at Memory Alpha, so this takes place in 2257. The events of the cage actually happened in 2254. So this is 3 years after the events on, I think it was Talos 4. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you see the fortune cookie, and I pulled up the actual fortune because I didn't get a chance to write it down.
Yeah, my son loved that quote.
Yeah, and it says not every cage is a prison, not every loss is eternal. And so, it's a direct allusion to the fact that he was literally in a cage, and that in the end, I think it's like 11 or 12 years later, he ends up going back and repopulating that planet, or we are led to believe he goes back and repopulates that planet. So it gives you an idea of where he sits in all of this and where, what's going on during this time. And I really appreciate it. And it makes me really wonder where they're going with the show, particularly for Pike.
Right. Right. It's
because we know how his story ends.
Right. It has to get to that ending.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's what gives me comfort is they all seem very, very aware. And so nothing is being done on accident, and they seem to, this show is being made by people who love Star Trek. I mean, episode 2, we didn't even mention this. Episode 2 is directed by Jonathan Frakes. So they're very, very aware of the lore of Star Trek and what it means to a lot of people, and that, quite frankly, there's a lot of stuff to build off of. So you're right. I'm very interested in seeing where they go with all this stuff and how they handle it.
And then this is me grasping for straws, right? So the planet that Kraft comes from is Alcor 4. It's the 4th planet in their system. The planet that Pike went to happened to be the 4th planet in their system. Mm-hmm. So is there a connection there? I don't know. I mean, I may just be making some shit up. That's part of the fun. I mean, 1,000 years in the future, could he be like a descendant of Pike?
Possibly.
I don't know.
Could be.
It's weird. I mean, they like, oh my God, the show is so good. Oh, they like you said, they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And they knew what they were doing in the first season. And and you get the feeling that the people that are running this show love Star Trek. And that how do you not like a show when it's run by fanboys? I mean, not the toxic ones, but people who actually have a legitimate respect for the franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what makes, that's why Star Trek Discovery is so good. I mean, it's such a good and just fun show to watch because, one, it seems like, and I've seen this cast together in person. They seem to like each other. And that's always a big thing for me. If the cast likes each other, your show is gonna show on screen. You know, there's just so many stories. I mean, we have several other storylines that I know are going to be coming in to this season that we didn't even touch in these first 2 episodes. Like there's Ash, there's not our Giorgio. There's just so many other aspects of this season that are set to come up, and I don't know. I honestly don't know where it's going, and
we also still don't know if we're gonna have like the real Lorca show up.
That's a good point too. You're right.
But get us to feel like, okay, there's a whole lot here, but you know what? I don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
Like that's an accomplishment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. To not know where we're going, and I don't know how this is going to pan out, but I'm still enjoying the ride, at least in these first 2 episodes so much. Like what else am I supposed to do? Like this is great. Like it's a fun show. I can see where they're going, and we're getting the science in here. I think that's one of the big things about Star Trek. You have to put the science in there. You know, the idea that on the planet they use a magnet, and then on above the surface they also use the ideas and principles of a magnet as well. And there was 2. Again, it goes to show you how close this crew works together, and they basically come up with the same solution in 2 different locations for 2 different problems without talking to each other about this. It's just like, I don't know. I really enjoyed how that works out and how they pulled it off. So
Can we talk for a moment how, like, Lieutenant Joanna, I can't pronounce her last name. Yeah, comes from a Luddite community. Like, even still, with all this wondrous technology, there's still people that have a belief system or that want to go away from that. Mm-hmm. That fascinates me. And she goes, oh, yeah, well, even though you would assume because they're Luddites, they might be religious. She's like, oh, no, my parents weren't believers. So she's like, I have no idea what any of this is.
Thank you. That stood out. That really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the idea of having the diversity in the show and the diversity of characters. You know, and the diversity. It also means not just, you know, skin tone. It's diversity of thought, diversity of ideas, the diversity of beliefs. And this show, Star Trek Discovery is the most Star Trek show. Like it. You needed every other. It's not the shit on the other Star Trek shows that have come out. Like we needed each of those to get to this point. But Star Trek Discovery feels like it's just the culmination of all the lessons learned, all the good pieces of those shows put together. Going now, we have the technology to really do what we always had. What we always wanted to do, and that's what I feel like Star Trek Discovery is, and it's wonderful.
And I think, you know, part of that is that, like, for a lot of times when we do a Star Trek show, at least for the Federation, we're looking at people that have some level of decoration or renown. Mm-hmm. This is a whole crew full of misfits.
Yeah,
because Lorca picked misfits. He's basically a predator, picking the people that were, I think, the most vulnerable to his leadership. And that's something that I think we can't forget while watching this show. And that makes it such a fascinating, like when they get to a point where they start doing these character studies on these characters that we don't know, like, mm-hmm. I'm excited for that. Mm-hmm. Because what was it about these characters that made Lorca pick them? He handpicked everybody on that ship.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, and then you're right. That also might have been like, I get why they did the shorts the way they did, but imagine they did if they do keep doing these kind of shorts, and you do a short where you just pick some of these other characters, right? And do have them do something, you know, have it be like a 20-minute story on them. We also know they've done that kind of stuff with Star Trek episodes with whole seasons, like, you know, the crew disappeared, and so you get Barclay is the only one who. What was it? His one. He did the one where he was reliving the day over and over again, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, you can do that kind of stuff with these characters where you're not focusing on the quote unquote main characters. You know, obviously, Shaniqua is still like the lead character here, and Michael Burnham's character is the lead on a lot of things. But in these first 2 episodes, they made everybody else interesting enough where it doesn't feel like she has to carry the show alone.
They made everybody else matter.
Yes.
Which is something that's been I'm going to say long overdue, but it hasn't been really that long because this is only the 2nd season. But they, everyone matters now. Everyone is important.
Well, they're taking a route that a lot of procedural shows do, right? So they usually pick a character to be your entry point, and then they snatch that character away from you, and they start to focus on the other characters on the team, and then start to, that other person that was the entry point does not have to carry the show. So, like, one of my favorite shows to watch is Criminal Minds. The entry point was M. They took her out the show. And then the show continued going because at that point we had gotten to know the other character so much that it didn't matter. And I like that approach. I still want Shaniqua like all day, every day, but I like that they're expanding this out. I like that they're taking they're probably going to slowly start taking the emphasis off of her. I would imagine after this Spock run, like if they did a 3rd season that didn't focus entirely on her at all, that's probably the right move.
Anything else about these first 2 episodes or that you're looking forward to for the rest of the season?
Bring me my Michelle. Come on, let's go. And Spock, I need to see him too. No, I just like how it's unfolding. The season teaser is like, oh, this is going to be amazing. Again, my Ash is back. Yes, he's back. It looks like they're in trouble. So it's going to be interesting to see what that means for the armistice.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Every time they give me clips of I think episode 1 gives you clips of the entire season, and then episode 2, this one gave me clips of the next. I'm just like, guys, I wish you hadn't done that because now I gotta wait a week to watch these episodes. And
it's frustrating right now. It's like, just drop it all.
Yeah, just drop it all. Because I would definitely binge it in a weekend because I love this fucking show. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if the whole Klingon armistice is going to last, especially with all this going on with these red flashes. Because I remember Burnham asked Sarek, are the Klingons behind this? And he's like, no, they're not. He reached out to them. So it would be interesting to see if they come into play. Maybe they start going after the red burst themselves. And maybe that's how we get our brown love back, Mr. Ash, to the show. Besides just having problems on the Klingon homeworld. But I wish that we could, binge it all in one weekend and stuff, but I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I have no idea. And I can't wait to see what this show has to bring.
Well, unfortunately, we know the armistice won't last. It can't last. That's just how it goes. And, the Klingons will be on the side of quote unquote angels for like a minute and a half, and then they start getting angry and pissy about something, and
Klingons going to claim them.
Then we get another armistice, then that ends, then we get another one, then that ends. Like wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, so I wonder if the overall arc of this show is going to be that they establish this armistice, and then you slowly watch the relationship with the Klingons deteriorate. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because we still have roughly about another 7 years before Kirk takes over the Enterprise. So we got a long gap between now and the Star Trek that we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
No, I think that covers it all.
About the show? No.
Oh, didn't you have a rant?
Yes, I do. And I'm about to lead into it now.
We also have an email, Chris.
Oh, that's right.
Do the email first.
Hold on.
I got it. Hold on. It's right here. From Peyton. Disco time. We back. This show is so good. I love this show. The shorts that they did were really good too. Calypso might be my favorite. I'm curious to see if they tie into the main series. How much money are they spending on this show? Because it's damn gorgeous to look at. They spared no expense on the special effects. Rest in peace to the dude who mansplained himself into an asteroid. He really was mansplaining the fuck out of it.
It does not speak well for men that even in the utopian almost society that they have created for in the Star Trek universe, men still mansplain to women to their death. So.
Gillette tried to warn y'all. Anyway, looking forward to seeing what the Emperor has been up to. Peyton.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe this is a future where Gillette never made that ad, and so oh boy, this dude's great grandfather had thrown his Gillette into a toilet somewhere and never. I don't know what the fuck happened.
So we need Bill and Ted. We need Bill and Ted to go back in time and fix Gillette. Is that what it is?
So whatever
the whole third movie seemed about.
So, all right, rant time.
Yes, rant time. Okay, so to the comment section of the AV Club, the entire comment section of the AV Club, to 87% of the comment section of io9.com, and to whoever the jackass is who writes the reviews for the AV Club, I have a word of advice for you, because it seems like you don't like the show. Stop fucking watching the show.
Okay, so you're going to have to give us context, right?
Okay, so here's the context. I do like to read the reviews of the show because, I like to get other opinions, other viewpoints. The first two episodes.
Let me just say, that's your fault because other view.
I was thinking it. I was going to say it because I
love you. Look. Other viewpoints are overrated sometimes, so I'm just throwing it out there. And I'm saying that on a show where we actually are giving our opinion to other people who like the show. But I'm assuming this is because people like the show. Like, I don't want people listening to us who go, I hate the show. No. This is for people who love the show. If you don't like the show, just don't listen because this is about joy. This is about joy. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's the difference. If we don't like a show, we stop podcasting about it.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
So
Star Wars Resistance. Sorry.
Yeah. So the reviewer, he is basically dumped on the show since its return. And it's like. And everybody in the AV Club, they've been dumping on the show as well. And, you get the lone dissenter who actually enjoys the show and watches the show to enjoy the show. And then you get the whole flood of people. No, the show sex is not Trek. And like, shut up. Shit. Stop watching. And this one is the one that really makes me angry. Those who don't watch the show, but shit on the show. Like, why are you doing that?
Who are you and why are you here?
If I don't like something, I don't watch it. I write for Project Fandom. I used to review Sailor Moon Crystal. After a while, the show got bad, so I stopped watching and I stopped reviewing because it was a bad show. I have never seen Justice League. I will never see Justice League because I don't want to watch it. So I have no opinion on whether it's good or not. I don't care if it's good or not. I will never watch it. It's really easy to not watch something you don't like. We are still in a golden age of television and cinemas.
And comic books.
Hate watching shit is
I don't understand.
Really easy to not do. Find something else to do. Go twiddle your thumbs if you can't find something on TV. Jesus Christ. Do something else. But do not yuck somebody's yum. Period. Point blank. End of story.
There's a reason why there's only 4 reviews. Actually, I don't think I wrote 1 review. There's a reason why I stopped watching Titans after 4 episodes. It was not good to me. Stop watching it. I mean, I'm not going to sit there. One, I'm not going to pay for something. That's the one thing. I'm not going to pay. Pay to hate watch something. That's just, you're out of your fucking mind. But 2, movies is one thing. Because, again, you're maybe putting in an investment of maybe at 2 hours. I can see that. But television shows? Television shows require so much. Like, we delayed doing this review because, we had,
I fucked up. Just say it. It's okay. I'm sorry.
Well, no, honestly, because we were going back and forth about what we were going to review because, we were supposed to start doing just the shorts in episode 1. Then, scheduling, we had to delay it. And so episode 2 comes out on Thursday. And it didn't cross my mind. I was like, usually I do like to give like an extra day. Because I know if we don't watch it right then at that time, time takes a couple days. I hadn't even watched it yet. So it's like, you have to schedule to watch these shows, particularly a show that's an hour long. I'm not gonna. That is 15 hours of your life for a show you don't like.
And for busy people that have jobs and families and children and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, my television intake is limited. Like, I just if it's something, if I didn't catch it in the first 3 episodes, I may binge it later. But man, it's easy to walk away from a television show.
And the thing that gets me about this too,
we have all done it at some point in time in our lives.
And what's getting me about this is like hearing you say that they don't like. It's like this season is more Star Trek than the first season. These first 2 episodes are way more Star Trek than the first season. Like I do not entertain people who did not like the first season. But if they were complaining, oh well, it's not my Star Trek, fine. You know what? I think that's stupid. I think
you know what it is. They're still upset because even though Anson, he is a white man's white man. I like him. He's a good actor. He's charismatic, but he is a white man's white man. But the point is, even with him being the captain, he's not the central focus. I think people are still pissed that whiteness isn't centered. White maleness isn't centered.
Yeah.
White heterosexual maleness isn't centered. I keep having to break it down because I was like, wait, Tilly, Sam, it's okay. White male heterosexuality is not centered. That's their issue.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous.
To get over that shit.
And again, we all know the cause of it. So, it's that same element. It's that same element that created Gamergate. It's the same element that's been attacking Star Wars. It's the same element that the comic book industry has done me really proud and stuck their entire middle finger up at. But it's the same element. It's the same element sowing this discord.
Yep. And so, yeah. Hey, go watch Titans. Go watch if that's what you want. Go watch Titans.
Don't believe him. Don't.
Hey, some people
he's being petty and snarky. Don't do.
I'm not being petty and snarky. I'm saying if Star Trek Discovery is not doing it for you because you don't get in your white maleness, go over the Titans. You can get your murderous white dudes all you want. It's just I don't know. I love this show. Like I've watched these first 2 episodes, and I was like, my only complaint is that it took so long to come back. Like that's literally all I got right now for this show. Anything else you might want to say?
And I don't get it. Like it's the same issue I have with Star Wars. Like The Last Jedi was the most loyal to Star Trek lore that I've seen since ever at this point. And the same thing with Discovery. Like they are meticulously attached to the Star Trek mythology. I mean, we've done an entire episode where we talked about its placement in time and space. Like, I don't understand how people say that's not my Star Trek. It is the embodiment of Star Trek, just like The Last Jedi is the embodiment of Star Wars.
Well, Doctor said it best. It's the cishet white males who are so unhappy that a black woman is the lead of a Star Trek show that they don't know what to do with themselves. So,
and then look at the secondary characters. You have an alien, you have a gay man, you have a white woman, you have another black woman on the bridge, you have a Korean male on the bridge, you have a black man on the bridge, you have another white android. Like what you have, it's not white male cis heaven the way the original Star Trek was. If we're honest, that's their issue. That's their issue.
I also say this because something I've noticed with comic books and all these other media we're talking about here is you don't underestimate the fact that some of the original audiences never understood what the medium and what the content was doing anyway.
They never understood Gene Roddenberry's vision. They didn't understand his entire point was to show the society he wanted to see, which was people of all backgrounds and beliefs coming together, working together, and being equally as important. Yeah. They never understood that.
But you see,
Roddenberry created a socialist utopia.
Yeah. And so when you see that, when you see people railing against comic books and politics and comic books, I laugh. I mean, like I said, we're going back and doing this, the ages of comic books, and literally that's all. You don't have a Marvel Comics if you don't have politics. Like it just like, and so when people say that, that's not how my comic books were, it makes you. It's so funny to me because it mostly comes from men, but it reminds me of how men think of women when it comes to watching professional sports. oh, you're just picking them because of the pretty colors, or you like the uniforms, or you think that person's hot. I'm like, but that's the same thing you apparently did with all these properties. You did the same thing with Star Wars, Star Trek, and comic books. You didn't understand what any of this stuff meant. You just like the idea that Kirk slept with all these women and he was in charge. You just like the fact that it was a laser, it was a laser sword that could cut through anything, and the Darth Vader sounded cool. Like, you didn't get any of the underlying story points and story plots for any of this stuff. You just like the stuff that it looked cool, and that was it. That's as far as your interest into this stuff went to. And like I said, I think it's just so fucking ironic and so fucking funny.
Oh, you talking about that diversity comment in comics dude who created an entire phenomenon out of the fact that he didn't like the size of Captain Marvel's boobs?
Oh, for God's sake!
Right, shit like that. It's such a ridiculous. And then you get people that pile on. It's like, no, I didn't want any of this and all that. And I'm like, you don't. Every time I hear one of these people speak, I go, you don't know what you want. You clearly don't know what you want, because what you described is not what that. It's not what Star Trek was. It's not what Star Wars was. It's never what comic books were. Everything what you're describing sucks. Like, what you're describing is probably some show that did try to come out and copy that stuff without any of the actual like understanding of it, and then turned out to be terrible. So yeah, going into 2019, my ability when possible is to ignore these people. Like, I was seeing somebody said something weird. It's but I'm not even gonna get into it. But it's just like, I just ignore them if they're not causing any real damage or harm to anything or harassing anybody. I just block and mute and keep it moving, because I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to spend my time when we're into a new golden age of all this kind of nerd media, arguing with people over stuff. Hey, have fun. You guys got it. You know, I'm gonna enjoy the stuff I can and go for the quality stuff and just be happy. So. All right. Did we decide on how many we're doing when we're coming back for this? Are we doing it three at a time?
I thought we had agreed to 3 at a time. So it would be after episode 5, we would meet again, 3, 4, and 5. Isn't it?
And I think overall that's become a good pace for me in general. So I would stick with that.
Yeah, I like doing that. Like, I'm still trying to get D-Home to do that for some of our Arrowverse, because it's like, it's not even that it's that the episodes aren't bad. It's that when you have long seasons, getting 3 episodes at a time, you get a good feel. Like, sometimes if you have questions or you have a feeling about one episode, it can change when you get the next episode, when you get more context in it. Like, wasn't that in this episode? Yeah, it was in this episode when Pike was talking to Burnham about that, about changing context and adding context and things like that. It's like, you know, I like having at least 3 episodes in the bank under the belt to kind of get the full context of everything. Like, I'm thinking about it now. If we had done the first 3, we did those 4 shorts in the first episode, we would have liked it. But it's like getting the episode 1 and the episode 2 together. I'm like, oh, I'm seeing a whole bigger like context of everything that's going on this season, and I feel even. It made me enjoy them even more, right? By getting both of them together.
Agreed.
So. Yeah, see, again, because I like, my week has become centered around Discovery now that it's back. Like, I look forward to Thursdays. And so since I watched it the night of, that's why, you know, so for the listeners, we always have a fair amount of communication amongst ourselves. That's why I was insisting on, y'all need to watch the second episode. Because it just, like, one episode was enough, but the second episode really does get you all in. Absolutely. So I was happy we were able to do that.
Yeah, same here. So, all right, well, we'll be back in 3 more episodes to review this. Also have an announcement about The Gifted. Again, changing schedules came up, and we know there's only like 2 more episodes of The Gifted left, so we're just going to wait until The Gifted is completely done. We'll come back in, I guess, 2 weeks. And we'll be wrapping up The Gifted with our final reviews on that as well. So if you're looking and you're waiting for our Gifted review, just know we were just having a hell of a time getting people's schedules together. So we decided just to wait until last 2 episodes were done, and we'll just review the last 6 together. And then I know Arrow's back. So Deepam and I will be doing an Arrow review this week. And then I know Supergirl's already back. And I think we just put up a Supergirl episode with the Doctor and Shanna, and then obviously Flash and everything. Oh, mailbag is this week as well, so send us a mailbag at mtrnetwork.net. And that's it, folks. Thank you guys very much for listening. Until next time, we're out of here. Peace.
Peace.